Welcome to Wed and Wild. This is the podcast where we talk about the wild, wonderful, and downright ridiculous parts of marriage and family life. We are the Smiths, a married couple who's surviving love, kids, and each other. Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to talk about how to express needs and emotions effectively and active listening techniques to understand each other better.
This is an episode that I clearly need to focus on.
Yeah, I would say you're the queen of lack of communication.
I'd say lack of communication. I would say I'm the queen of tuning you out. I guess that's a lack of communication.
Well, I mean, for me, it's do you ever listen to me or do you just wait for your turn to talk?
I always start off listening to you, and then I naturally digress and start to tune you out. For example, like this morning when you were talking to me about your socks.
I feel like
Just like somewhat interested, but I was like also like I'm watching TV. So kind of I'm like, yeah.
I just feel like you have very selective listening. You hear what you want to hear and interpret it the way you want to interpret it and not how it's meant to be interpreted.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably a woman's thing. Yeah.
I would say I don't know. I am not a woman. I cannot say
if it is or isn't. So we're going to talk about why couples struggle to communicate. And I tend to need emotional validation, while James tends to be more solutions focused.
That's true. Because, I mean, once something happens, it's already happened. So my goal from then on is to prevent it from happening again.
Well, I'm more of like I need you to tell me I'm doing the right thing, or, hey, yeah, I don't know. I'm looking for you to validate my feelings.
Well, it's because you talk in code and expect me to just know what you mean or what you need.
Yes, because we've been together for so long that I'm like, oh, he should understand and know what I'm thinking by now.
And still to this day, though, I ask you every time, what do you mean? Because you're not specific. You're very vague in what you ask for or how you communicate.
Yeah, that's the code we're talking about.
Yeah. So I constantly find myself asking, what do you mean? Like, what are you talking about? Like, just say it. Be direct.
Maybe I need to embody more of the directness that I do at work with my personal life.
Yeah. I mean, I would say I am very direct when I speak. If I'm like, hey, this is what I need this from you, I just say it. I don't try to beat around the bush or do your speaking code thing.
Yeah, like speaking code, like I need help and I don't tell you exactly what I need help with.
Yeah.
Or like I'm overwhelmed, but then I don't tell you what I'm overwhelmed with.
You don't say anything.
Yeah, I just say like that. That's it. And then I'm like looking for you to be like, oh, I'm going to be saving your day. And you don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So I might do one thing and then it's the completely wrong thing. That's not what you wanted at all. So I'm like, well, I try to take initiative. Now you're still mad because I didn't do what you wanted because you never told me.
Although you did tell me one time to make a list of things, and I did, and they didn't get accomplished. So I feel like even though I was really clear.
That list was very unrealistic to finish within a 6-hour period.
I forget what it was. What was on that list?
I don't know, but I looked at that list and I even told you, I was like, that is not a realistic list to finish in 6 hours.
Okay, what about today or last night when I was like, I want to sleep in tomorrow? And you told me sleep in next weekend.
Yeah, you get to sleep in next weekend.
Yeah, but I was very
communication.
It was very clear. I didn't talk in code there. It doesn't like, oh my God, I'm so tired.
Yeah.
And then you still didn't do what I was asking you.
I offered a compromise. I said next weekend.
I feel like this is probably what most married couples experience. Like there's times where we're like, yep, we'll do exactly what you told us to do. And then there's times we're like, no.
Yeah, you got to pick and choose your battles.
Well, sometimes I want us to pick and choose battles that benefit me more.
I feel like most of the time you want to pick battles that benefit you more.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
It's called, making me happy. Happy wife, happy life. No. That's how the saying goes.
Happy spouse, happy house. That's how the saying goes.
That
means both people involved need to be happy to have a happy house.
I don't really hear that saying as often as I probably maybe should be, but I would agree with that.
Yeah. Happy spouse, happy house. Can't have happy wife, happy life. That's only one happy person.
Well, the most important happy person, which is me. I'm the one that's keeping the ship. How does that saying go? Ship afloat? No. I don't know. I don't know what the saying is, but I'm the one that's driving the ship. Does that make sense?
in
Probably
your
not.
in your head.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
In your head.
Well, so I feel like there's like some common pitfalls to communication that I want us to talk about. One, we've talked about us being me speaking in code. I'm
Mhm.
sure I'm not the only wife out there speaking in code. What's some of the others?
Not listening,
I'm guilty of that.
interrupting,
I feel
talking.
like I'm not as guilty of that, but I probably have. We've both probably been guilty of interrupting.
I don't interrupt.
Yes, you do.
I just stopped to let you talk right now.
But this is a different setting.
We've had other recordings from this podcast where you have interrupted right over me. We have receipts.
This is a banter. This is not a conversation.
You do talk over me if I'm talking to get your point out, but I'm not even finished like talking, nor have I left a gap in conversation to where it's like, okay, that's an invite for you to come in.
You know, some things aren't always perfect. I feel like I'm definitely I know for a fact I am guilty as hell of not listening.
Yeah.
I start to tune
Well,
I start to tune you out.
you're guilty of the other pitfall too, which is assuming instead of asking.
Yes, that's like the talking in code thing. Like
Yeah.
I'm assuming you're going to do what I need you
No,
to do.
or assuming that I know the issue. Like
Yes,
without telling me. You're just assuming that I know exactly what is wrong.
that is true. I do make that assumption
And I don't,
because I feel like you should be able to read my brain.
which I
But we
can.
didn't we have this conversation with a friend of ours, Heather? We had this conversation you were like me and I was telling Heather like, "Oh, he should know what I'm talking
And
about."
yeah, she
And
told you that you were
she was
wrong.
like, "No, you need to.
Yeah.
He's not going to assume that or something like that." And I was like,
Yeah.
mm, "That's a valid point."
And you still took her advice and was like, yeah, I'm still going to do my own thing. I'm still going to keep doing it. Like, there's no way, unless you straight up say, hey, this is what's wrong. How am I supposed to know?
I mean, you maybe read my mind. I think a part of why people make and I'll speak for myself here, not people. Let me say that. But I feel like a part of why I assume that you are going to know what I am talking about is because I don't know. Never mind. I don't have an answer. I don't have a reason why.
Why I would assume I know what's wrong, or why you would assume I know what's wrong.
Yeah.
You just do it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I would assume.
You just
But I
walk
just
around with
I
attitude
think I
and
just
heavy foot stomp around the house until I'm like, then I'll say, hey, what's wrong? Nothing, I'm fine. Which is a whole nother conversation. But
well, first of all, I don't have you foot stomp around the house. Except for today. This morning you were like, "Why are you dragging your feet?" And I was
yeah,
like, "I'm wearing slippers." What do you mean? I'm putting the laundry away. I'm not just dragging my feet around the house. I think sometimes too you read into too much that what I'm doing.
I don't.
And then I'm like, no, that wasn't what
I do not. But if I notice something, I ask about it.
yeah, that's what you should do. But you should also assume, like, oh, what did I do that caused you to feel this? Or what did I not do?
No, that's not. It's not a thing.
Yeah, I think one of the other pitfalls that I feel like you do a lot is passive aggressiveness versus direct.
I feel like I'm more direct than passive aggressive. I'm definitely both for
You
sure.
definitely are.
Definitely both.
Yeah, but I feel like sometimes you're more passive aggressive than anything. But in a lot of different scopes of
say,
life, not just in our personal
yeah.
marriage.
I definitely own up to being passive aggressive, but I feel like depending on the situation, I feel like I'm more direct than passive aggressive.
I feel like a lot of it for you stems from like not this is nothing to do with our personal life. I don't feel like you do this to me, but I think when at least from examples from other conversations that you have with people, it's like a lack of competency, so you become passive aggressive. Like when you feel like somebody should know something and they don't, you become passive aggressive.
I just don't like ignorance.
There
That's
you go.
my
There you
yeah.
go. That's the right way to frame it.
I feel like you shouldn't talk about it if you don't know about it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I do feel like you're very passive aggressive.
Yeah.
Because you
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. You are very passive. You will not talk.
Oh yeah. In all aspects of my life. Like
If you're mad, you just stop talking.
But you know what? At work, that's not how I am. I'm actually very direct, and so I feel like a part of why I feel like because in my one scope of my life, I have to be so direct versus then I come home and I'm like, I don't want to be direct at all. This is how I am all day long. and now I completely flip to the other side of the pendulum. Is that the right word?
Pendulum swings.
Well, I swing to the opposite side.
Yeah, but then it swings back.
And then it swings back the next day or next morning.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you're more passive aggressive than
Oh, yeah.
direct in the relationship, and I'm more direct than passive aggressive in our relationship.
I would agree. I'm also more passive aggressive
But then
outside of the relationship and like family situations and things like that. Oh, I am 100%.
Yeah.
Like
outside of relationship, I'm very passive aggressive.
Yeah.
And I can be passive aggressive in the relationship too, but not as much as I am outside.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And then the last common like pitfall is around silent treatment versus over communication. I'm 100% silent treatment.
I was going to say, I swear if you say that you are over communication.
Oh no. I will not talk. I will not tell you how I'm feeling in my again, I'm going to state in my personal life, because this goes in all aspects, in our marriage, in relationships with family, in relationships with, I haven't really had that with friends, but like I will not communicate.
Yeah, I was ready to call you out.
Oh no.
I thought you were going to lie.
No, I'm like a not communicator. Like,
I'm an over communicator.
Really?
Yeah, I talk about everything to whoever. I don't keep secrets. If it's on my mind, I say it. I don't care. I don't care what people say.
That is true. I don't know why I said really. Like, yeah, you'll go and tell people all kinds of stuff.
I'll tell people my business, other people's business.
Yeah.
As long as, yeah. Well, I mean, I tell my business. I don't tell other people's business, but I definitely over communicate my business. It doesn't matter. But what do you think is worse? Like, what's more toxic? What's the toxic trait? Over communication or silent treatment?
I think it kind of just depends on the situation, because there's like times where I will not communicate because I know if I do, it won't be good. Right. So like that to me is less toxic than me just taking some time. And I think the clear thing is that people know I'm upset. Like, it's not like I'm like not talking to people and people are like, oh, why is she not talking to me? People know that I am upset in all aspects of my life. They'll be like, oh, she is upset. I don't talk until I'm ready to talk. Yeah.
So you said that it won't be good if you talk.
If I'm like over communication.
That's a lack of communication skill.
Well, it's not that. It's just that I'm not in the mental space to be able to talk at that given time period.
Because you do not know how to communicate properly.
Maybe.
I mean, because why else would you think that?
I'm too emotional, and at that time I can't. I need to process my own emotions before I'm able to communicate with others. That's how I feel. And even when I start to communicate, I get overly emotional.
What's your timeline on that?
It depends on how exactly what is going on.
It could be 2 weeks, and then by then I don't feel like that's a good way to communicate.
Well,
because now you're holding on to something for 2 weeks.
Well, sometimes I need those 2 weeks. And even then, when I go to communicate about how I'm feeling, I'm like an emotional mess. It's an emotional roller coaster.
I'd rather talk about it right then in the moment. Like if time needs to be taken, a couple hours at most, not like a week or 2 weeks. Because then you're not even talking about it anymore. Now it's just
move on with life.
And now you're going to always hold that grudge.
Yeah. But I don't hold grudges.
I feel like
with some people.
I do feel like the silent treatment is more toxic. Like I said, I feel like it's just a lack of communication skill.
I feel like it's a healthy boundary when I'm not ready to communicate.
Well, I mean, what would you do to fix? Like, what's a strategy that you would use to fix anything?
Well, one thing I've done, and it really actually helps, is I type out how I'm feeling and what I would want to say in my phone or like in my notes app where I write it down or something. And then I sleep and then I reread it the next day and I'm like, oh, I should probably not say that, or I should probably take that out, or I should then, maybe get rid of that or delete the entire note in general. But that's one thing I do. And then sometimes I say what is in my notes. And sometimes I don't.
Have you tried active listening?
Tell me more about what you mean by active listening. Like I hear what you're saying and this is how I feel.
No.
Oh, what do you mean?
No. No. So like you're actually paying attention. And to prove that you're paying attention, you're repeating back what is said. So if I'm like, hi, my name is James, you would be like, your name is James. Yeah.
I
So
practice that in my daily work life all the time.
me too.
In my personal life, maybe not so much. I'm like, I'm over this.
But it's just
I'm
to
over
show
this shit.
it's to show the person that you're talking to that you're paying attention. You're
But you know what?
taking what they said and summarizing what they said. You're not putting it into your words. You're just using their words.
Doing things like what I'm hearing you say is blah blah blah.
Yeah. Well, let me see if I got this right. You feel the blah 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 blah. Basically, you're going to summarize what the person says to prove that you're paying attention. Like just 10 minutes before this, if I was to have you summarize anything I said, could you be able to do it?
Yeah, let me give some context.
No, I'm just saying, could you be able to do it? You don't have
Let
to
me
say
try.
what we talked about. No.
I just want to try. I won't give all the details of what we talked about.
Yes.
But yes, okay, I'm going to try. Let me try.
I just want a yes or a no.
For some context, we were talking about James's stock.
I don't have, it's not stock.
Okay, Bitcoin. No, shoot. Whatever.
See, she doesn't pay attention.
Crypto. We were talking about your crypto. I don't know what the appropriate term is here. I'm just learning this stuff. Okay. So here's let me just give you the synopsis and you can tell me yes or no. We'll go into detail specifically about what we were talking about.
Okay.
But
because I gave you a solid amount of information.
Yeah, you did. So let's see here. So what you were saying was that one, the crypto that you had invested in had gone up overnight. And
not overnight, no.
In the last couple of hours, maybe?
No.
What was it? Here comes your passive aggressiveness.
Well, this is you're not listening.
I thought you said it went out. But last time you checked,
it was in like 30 minutes.
Okay,
30
so he was like, last time.
Hour.
Okay, here's the correct terms of what you used. You said since the last time I've checked it, it's gone up. No. I wonder why. And then you said that basically that the president had signed some executive order creating.
See, you're turning stuff into your own words.
Creating something. I don't. that part, I started tuning out. I was like, I don't really care about what this has to say. Then we had another conversation. I was like, okay.
So basically, you need to learn.
Don't even ask me what type of crypto you invested in.
You need to work on your active listening, is what I'm getting. Because we just talked about it like
right
10
before
minutes
we hopped on
this podcast.
This was our conversation. I was also simultaneously watching 90 Day Fiance. So, like,
what about when you talk to me while I'm doing stuff and I still pay attention to you?
But here's the
because you know why? Because my focus is on because my focus is on you rather than what I'm doing.
That's a fucking lie.
Can your TV show be paused?
No, it's because it's because you are a fucking pro multitasker. Like that's what you do for a living. Even when I go to your work and sit in with you, and I'm like, golly. At one point I was like, oh, this is easy. I could do that. And then at one point I was like, absolutely fucking not. There's too much shit that goes down here. I don't even know how you process all this. There's too much information.
But
you're a professional multitasker.
Well, you got to practice.
Well, maybe I need a job that makes me to multitask like yours.
Or hear me out. You could have just paused the show that you were watching.
I think I did at multiple points because I was like trying to understand what you were telling me. There were times where I was pausing, not for very long, because I was like, oh, we need to move on. So yes, I would agree that I probably need to practice some active listening skills in my personal life. And maybe also not multitask while I'm trying to listen to a conversation.
Also avoid the silent treatment when you're mad.
Okay, I could try, but there's no guarantee there. I need at least a little bit. I might need to tell you I need a couple hours. You don't need to
over communicate, but some kind of communication that is not silent communication would be helpful.
Okay, I'll try. And I'll use I statements. I feel blank.
What do you mean?
Because
help. Those are your those are accusations.
Yeah. Well, because at that point I'm too frustrated. I'm like, I need to just get this off my chest. So let me.
Why is that? Is it because you don't communicate?
Sometimes.
You see how these things add up?
That is true.
You frustrate yourself because you do not communicate with your significant other about what is needed.
I do frustrate myself sometimes.
You just expect me to know or read your mind.
Well,
You see,
sometimes.
okay, here's an example. You see how I communicated with you about the cooking, cleaning thing?
Oh yeah, like yeah.
So we made a deal. I told Dominique
Let's
that,
not say we made a deal. We're gonna practice something new.
well, you already failed last night.
What do you mean? I cleaned the kitchen. We made a deal. We were practicing something new. James is gonna cook, and I'm gonna clean up
Okay,
that
so
tidy up the home. Is what
I
he said.
I cook anyways, but I made a vow, a commitment to cook dinner every night. Now, I'm not here every night, like Tuesday through Friday. I'm not here. So I told her I would make dinner before I leave. That way it's ready for her and the kids when she gets home. One less thing to worry about. Right?
Yeah, and then you told me that I had to vow, since we're using the term vow, I had to vow to clean up the house. And I said, "What exactly do you mean by clean up the
And
house?" See, you were speaking in code there. I didn't
no,
know, but I
nope.
asked a clarifying question.
And I clarified. I didn't just say, well, you should know. Figure it out. Right?
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I don't expect you to like mop and sweep and everything. I was like, just, just pick up.
Just so
Pick up
everybody
around the
is
house.
aware, our house over the course of the week, like last Sunday, we cleaned. Last Sunday, we cleaned the house. By Monday night, our house looked like a tornado, just with the amount of people that come in and out and shit that goes to school and comes home and backpacks and shoes and socks and jackets and I can't wait for the summer months so we can get rid of half the clothes that all these kids are wearing because it's a shit ton of stuff.
Okay, but you get off topic.
But then that's what needs to be cleaned up throughout the week is like organizing all that shit that comes in the house because we start off the week really good and then we like end up in a situation where we've got shit everywhere.
I'm just saying because like when I come home at like 2 a.m,
You don't want to step on toys?
and yeah, because I'm not turning the lights on because everyone's sleeping. So here I'm tripping over shoes, I'm tripping over toys,
backpacks.
Yeah, I'm stepping on everything, and I can't yell or anything because everyone's sleeping. So I'm just like internalizing my frustration. But I felt like that was a good communication. Like, hey, I will do this for you to help you out.
Let's do this.
And
Let's
it
work
takes
on
one
this.
less task from you, which I'm able to do before I leave. If you can do this for me,
Great. We're trying.
that was
now.
my communication.
But yesterday was a different scenario. The weekend's like a little bit different. Let's talk about the week. I did clean the kitchen and get everything like settled and organized, but the living room area was. We've also been home 2 days now, so let's see how tomorrow goes. Well, tomorrow's a unique situation because we're all home tomorrow. But let's see how Tuesday goes. Because we also said we were going to meal prep, and that didn't happen. That lasted 1 week. So,
well, I mean, I have to eat too, so I have to make some food.
I have been eating breakfast, so that has continued. So let's see.
And I guess another strategy that could talk about would be like, when do you let things breathe, and when do you talk about it? Like I said earlier, like my expectation is, cool, if you need some time, take a couple hours, but I expect a resolution that day. Whereas you're just like, nah, I'm not talking about nothing for a week. I'm not saying a word. So like when do you make that decision?
When I'm emotionally ready to make that decision.
But you still don't talk about it.
Currently, as it stands, that's when I am able to have a communication.
Yeah, but you don't. But that's what I'm saying. Like, when is it good? I guess to take that time, rather, because depending on the situation for anybody, you're not always going to be like, this happened right now, so we're talking about it right now.
I think it depends on how not severe, but like how intense of an argument you have to have, I think it's certain things that you probably should just talk about in a couple of hours, and there's probably some things that you might need to take some time to decompress and then approach in a conversation. So I think the question that we need to ask ourselves is whether or not never going to bed angry is good advice or not. What are your thoughts?
I would prefer not to go to bed angry. My personal thoughts, if that's the question.
Yeah, you would like to like handle it, solve the problem, and keep it moving.
Yeah. So if you need time, hey, take time. don't take all the time. You can get you an hour or so. But yeah, because the longer it takes, the more upset I get. And then now I'm dwelling on it and I'm coming up with all these extra other things that are bothering me.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm the opposite where I'm like, the more time it takes, the less upset I get versus the less time I get, the more upset I am.
Yeah, no, I get angry there.
I will say though,
Angrier
I
the
feel like
longer
I
it takes.
don't go to bed angry. I don't think I go to bed angry. Do I go upset? I go to bed upset. Yes.
I feel
Angry is like a strong emotion to me,
I
you
feel
know?
like I get more vindictive the longer
It takes.
it goes unsettled.
Yeah, I can see that. And I could respect that. I feel like you should be able to communicate effectively and try to solve your arguments. And this is something I need to work on. So let's talk about a listener who wrote in, and they had said that their husband and them have the same fight over and over. She'll ask him to do something, like take out the trash or call the plumber, and he'll say, I'll do it later. But later turns into never, and she ends up doing it herself. She then gets mad and says that he then she gets mad and he says that she's nagging. He says he just forgot and that I should remind him nicely instead of getting upset, but I feel like I shouldn't have to remind him at all. Am I being unreasonable or is he just ignoring me? You go
Let
first.
me go first. I mean, if he says he's going to do it, then he's going to do it. But was there a time limit on it? Was it like, hey, can you get this done within the next 5 minutes? Or was it, can you do it? Yeah, I'll do it.
She didn't explicitly state that there was a time limit, but why do women always have to state, I need you to do this by blank time? Why can't you just do it
Because when does it need to be done by?
right now?
So why not just say
Or
that?
else we wouldn't ask.
Well, why not just say that?
This comes back to the speaking in code
Because
that we talked about earlier.
because do it later. Like I'll do it later, just has a different later time clock than you do.
Well, but
like later to me, I've told you, yeah, you'll ask me, can you do it? Yeah, I'll do it later, and I'll do it within an hour or so. You know, it's just when I'm
you'll
ready
do
to
it when
do it.
you're ready to do it.
Like I'll do it.
Well, but she specifically said he never did it, and then he then said he forgot.
Yeah, but here's the thing: did he never do it because you asked? Like, let's say it's take out the what? Was there a reason?
It just said take out the trash or call the plumber.
So let's use take out the trash. Dominique, you will say, James, can you take out the trash? Yeah, I'll do it in a little bit. Right? That's normally how that goes?
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's say a little bit for you is 2 minutes. Right? 2 minutes pass and you're like, fine, I'll just do it myself. Now, is that what kind of later we're talking about? That he didn't do within a 2-minute time frame? Or was it like you told him to take out the trash and the next day it's still sitting there?
Well, it kind of comes down to like the trash example. I think is unique because I'm only going to tell you to take out the trash when I know the trash needs to be taken out. So like in that given moment, I feel like if I say, hey, James, I need you to take out the trash, it's typically because I'm going to put stuff in the trash and I can no longer put it in the trash, right? So that should be like an immediate,
at
like,
that point,
yes.
At that point, I'll tell you, all right, just get it ready.
Yeah.
And then I take it out. That's it.
Yes.
Like if it needs to go out right now, cool. Just get it ready.
What about like then she says or call the plumber or call blank something for the home. Do they need to give a timeline or is she nagging?
A timeline? Like why do we need a plumber? Like if you're telling me to call a plumber because the toilet is literally just nonstop flowing over and we're getting flooded, that's different. Or do you want me to call a plumber because I hear a weird noise? Everything works fine. I just hear a noise.
So I think what I'm hearing you say is like a couple things that this person could do is one, be clear on when she needs her husband to do something. For example, can you please do this in the next hour?
Look, these are just this is my thoughts.
Yeah. Okay. Or
if you tell me, hey, at some point today, can you do XYZ? I'm going to wait till the last minute, but I mean, I'm going to do it at some point today. Yeah.
You'll get it done for the most part. Or you can just maybe gently remind them. I'm not good at this, but be like, hey, just a reminder, I need you to do blah, blah, blah. I could never do. Sounds good in theory, but I'd be like, get this shit done.
Yeah, I mean, is that what this was about? He says he just forgot.
Yeah.
Which happens. Like, I forget. You ask me sometimes, hey, did you do? Oh, no, I forgot. Whoops. Like, my bad.
Yeah. I think at the root of it, we go back to what we talked about
I
earlier,
don't
which
feel like
is
you should get upset. You get upset, I feel like.
I do get upset. I'm like, oh, you didn't do it in the time frame. But then did I tell you a time frame? No.
No.
So
Yeah, it's just your time frame
it
in your
goes
head
back.
that you did not
It goes back to
communicate.
our earlier conversation in this episode where we talked about that.
Yeah.
So, and being able to communicate and listen
But do
effectively.
you feel like you shouldn't have to remind me at all? Like, you should say it one time and then I should know because I should be getting it done when you say it.
I think it depends on what it is. For stuff like the trash, yeah. Like I probably shouldn't even have to. I would argue I shouldn't have to tell you to take out the trash. You should look at the trash and be like, oh, it needs to be taken out. And most times you do that. Sometimes I have to prompt you. We also have older children that could do that, and they
Or
have no
sometimes when you
common sense to take out the
or
trash.
sometimes you'll tell me take out the trash while you're standing at the trash and I'm like, just get it ready and I'll take it out. Like,
Yeah.
it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. So I think it just kind of depends on the situation, but I don't think you should get upset. I don't think he should get upset. Now she is a different story.
I mean, I feel like you could just compromise as well, though.
Yeah.
Like I tell you, make me a list.
And
Then you can't.
sometimes you get that list accomplished, and
Then
sometimes you don't.
You don't. Well, I'm just saying. Then you can't say you forgot. You can't use that excuse. I forgot.
That's true.
Like, you write down a list and you're like, hey, can you do these things today? You can't be like, oh, I forgot. No, because it's written down. It wasn't just told verbally. I feel like
I also feel like I don't know. I feel like there's not a lot of things that have to get done in the day besides like basic or like some small household things. There's not a lot. If it's something really big, I don't mind reminding you, right? Like if it's like I need you to take the kids blank, I'll always remind you and be like, hey, by the way, remember we got to take the kids to we have to be here or whatever. The smaller things, I can see how that can get like annoying. You know,
I don't know. Like I said, I'll stand by the list because then it works for both. Like, hey, look, you're communicating what you need done. The other half is receiving it. You can't forget it. You can lose the list, but then that's on you because you could just be like, I lost the list. Can you send it to me again? If not, then that's a different situation. But
yeah, at the root of it, I think it's just learning how to effectively communicate your needs.
If I'm being forgetful all the time because you're verbally telling me,
Write it
compromise, write it down.
Yeah. I might, one thing we used to do, and I might go back to it, and I think you sent me a TikTok about it recently where we did like the chore chart and like had the things that needed to get done, like task lists.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, I started the calendar again, but that's more for the girls so they can visually see what's happening. But maybe we can pick that back up again. I had gotten rid of it because it was cluttering my fridge.
Yeah, could do that.
We could try it, see how it goes. We've been doing a good, by the way, just a quick pat on our back. We've been doing a good job of like doing unloading and loading the dishwasher, and I feel like that's been a good without having to be told to do this week. So maybe some things eventually will become a habit if you remind your spouse.
But in closing, I just want to list a challenge for the listeners, and let's try to actually listen to your spouse today. Like, really listen without fixing or interrupting or rolling your eyes. Just sit there and be there for your partner about whatever they want to talk about. It's harder than you think, as we found out earlier when
I didn't listen.
Yeah, you couldn't repeat anything I was talking about, and the parts you did repeat were wrong.
And spouses, James, when your partner does listen, don't test them with, well, what did I just say? No one wins that game, okay? Don't do what we did earlier and be like, all right, let's recount our conversation that we had just 10 minutes earlier. But we look forward to talk to you guys again next week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.